There aren't many living legends in hip-hop today who are still alive and actively creating. We mean those people who, back in the last century, made their mark as major rap artists and managed to forever shape the genre's direction. One of those musicians is undoubtedly Dr. Dre, who didn't just change hip-hop once and for all. He was also at the heart of all the most important events in rap history. You could say that Dre today is a living monument to hip-hop. So, what was his journey? Let's find out. But before we start, a quick announcement. Our project team is looking for content creators. If you keep up with the news and know your way around the rap industry in the United States, and if you can write engagingly, get in touch with us via the email listed in the video description. We'd love to have you join our team. Payment details will be discussed privately. A few years ago, Dr. Dre reminded the world what he means to global hip-hop. The biggest musical event of the year, 2022, was the Super Bowl halftime show. The echo of that event spread all over the globe. It was truly a grand event. Numerous re-uploads on YouTube were racking up hundreds of thousands of views. Media outlets speculated about how much of his own money the headliner, Dr. Dre, had invested into the stage design, and reportedly, that amount was $7 million. While fans kept wondering when the rapper would finally drop a new album, it was clear that the performance was meant to promote a future release, even though the set list was built entirely from older material. All in all, Dre managed to grab attention, no doubt about it, and hip-hop fans have already dubbed the show historic. For the first time, legends like Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent and Dre himself, the conceptual and historical link between them, all came together on one stage. It's absolutely clear that for Dre, this performance meant a lot. He had to show he was still capable of putting on a powerful show and making great music, even though not long ago he was in intensive care on the brink of death. But it's unlikely Dre will repeat the fate of DMX. At least we sure hope not. At the Super Bowl, Dre was welcomed as a living legend, and that makes perfect sense, given his status in the rap game. Let's take a look at how he got there. Interestingly, not long before the Super Bowl, the Los Angeles legend Andre Young, that's Dr. Dre's real name, turned 57 years old. By hip-hop standards, he's not just a granddad, he's practically a great-granddad. Today, Dr. Dre is one of the most successful rappers and producers in the world. He started his career in the group World-Class Wreckin' Crew, but he became truly famous as a member of N.W.A. After the group split up, he made a big statement with his solo debut, The Chronic, under the Death Row Records label, which he later left to create his own label, Aftermath Records. For the track Let Me Ride from that album, he received a Grammy Award. A few years later, in the year 1999, after the release of his second solo album 2001, he received another Grammy in the category of Producer of the Year. Between those two awards, he earned 5 more Grammys for collaborations with Tupac, Blackstreet, Eminem, and Snoop Dogg. After that, Dr. Dre mainly focused on producing, only occasionally jumping in on featured tracks. When it comes to producing, several albums he worked on went multi-platinum, including those by Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Eminem, and The Game. Dr. Dre is one of the highest paid musical artists in the world, thanks in part to Beats by Dre headphones and his label, Aftermath. Dre's story is long and full of events, so it's impossible to tell it all in one video. That's why we decided to make the story more compact and visually focused. We'll present the story of Andre Young through the lens of his music videos, which started coming out back in the 1980s. We should start with the 1980s project World-Class Wreckin' Crew. That was electro hip-hop from the year 1984. Dr. Dre is behind the turntables, though you can also hear a few lines from him, and the other group members often repeat his name in the track. The group released a couple of albums in 1985 and 1986.
Off the wall. You'll feel motivated as he up.
Andre got the nickname Dr. Dre, while earning respect as a DJ at the Los Angeles club The Eve After Dark, where he called himself the Master of Mixology. Inspired by the influence of Grandmaster Flash, the group World-Class Wreckin' Crew briefly became stars of West Coast electro-funk in the early 80s. The track Surgery was practically an ode to Dre behind the decks. It sold 50,000 copies in his hometown of Compton. Even though the group had some success, Dre saw an opportunity to move beyond DJing after meeting a rapper named O'Shea Ice Cube Jackson. Just a couple of years later, Dr. Dre was completely transformed. He had joined the group N.W.A. under the leadership of the one and only Eazy-E. In 1987, N.W.A. released the compilation album N.W.A. and the Posse, but they blew up the music world with their 1988 album Straight Outta Compton and its title single. It was a true explosion, the impact of which is still felt to this day. The album wasn't backed by major organizations, it didn't get media coverage or radio play, and despite negative reactions from critics, the release achieved double platinum status. The world got to know names like Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, MC Ren, and DJ Yella. Dre and DJ Yella produced the album. It had a massive impact on the development of West Coast hip-hop. Even after 30 years, the tracks from that album still don't leave anyone indifferent.
I'm expressing with my full capabilities, and now I'm living in correctional facilities.
Despite the controversy, including a letter from the FBI protesting the track Fuck the Police, the album was a phenomenal success. It sold over 500,000 copies in less than 2 months, without radio play and without TV music videos. Though the album was criticized for glorifying black-on-black violence, it was also praised for its honest portrayal of street life realities on the West Coast. And it wasn't all aggression. One of the key tracks was Express Yourself, where Dre not only produced but also rapped verses, sampling a song by Charles Wright and the Watts, with not a single profanity, and a message about the importance of freedom of expression. In the year 1989, Ice Cube left N.W.A. due to a financial dispute, but the group managed to stay afloat for a while, proven by the release of an EP, a video, and the track 100 Miles and Runnin'.
100 miles and running. MC Ren, I hope the gunning. You want me to deal with the situation and it's done it.
Dr. Dre was part of N.W.A. from the year 1986 to 1991, but after a falling out with Eazy-E, which escalated into mutual diss tracks, he decided to go solo. His first solo single after leaving the group was the track Deep Cover, which came out in 1992 and was featured on the soundtrack to the film of the same name. On the feature, Snoop Dogg, with whom the collaboration would continue under the Death Row label.
Tonight's the night I get in some shit. Yeah. Deep cover on the incognito.
Here's some archival footage where Eazy-E talks trash about Dr. Dre.
You can say all you want to say. Basically, you could diss me all you want, but I'm gonna get paid. Because that's why I say Dre Day's only Eazy's payday. And that's real.
Why don't y'all just make up?
He already made up. You ain't never seen him with the lipstick and
Oh,
lace?
no, I mean, no.
Dr. Dre's first solo and greatest album, The Chronic, dropped in the year 1992. That album kicked off the G-Funk era that would define the West Coast. The music video for Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G-Thang, which introduced the world to Snoop Doggy Dogg, was the first preview of the upcoming release and came out just before the debut album itself. The album was released on the Death Row label, marking that organization's place in hip-hop history. Dre's work was later continued by Tupac with his solo albums. Released with help from Suge Knight.
I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got kept, cause my people kept peeping.
Although all members of the group 213, Warren G, Nate Dogg, and Snoop played important roles, it was Snoop who became Dre's main partner on his debut album, appearing on 9 tracks. His laid-back flow perfectly complemented Dre's production, which was built around funk samples.
What brought you to Snoop?
It was incredible. It was incredible. My baby bro, Warren G,
yes, sir.
He actually brought me the a cassette tape, and I popped it in to listen to it like, whoa, I need to meet him.
So I called him, and he was like, what's up? I was like, I want to talk to you because Dre wanted us to come to the studio on Monday. And he was just like, nigga, I ain't trying to hear that. And boom, he hung the phone up on me. And I called him back. I said, look, man. I said, please, let me call him on the 3-way. Called him. Snoopy, cuz, I got Dre on the phone, cuz. What's up? Would you tell him that you want us to come to the studio on Monday? And he was like, this ain't Dre. And he was like, this is Dre. Man, quit motherfucking lying on motherfucking Dr. Dre, nigga. This is Dre. Hello? Hello? Yeah. And then he was like, kind of like, oh, shit.
Right.
I heard that cassette Monday. Can you come to the studio?
The Chronic exceeded all expectations. It went triple platinum and won a Grammy for Best Solo Rap Performance for the track Let Me Ride. In an interview with Vibe magazine, Dre recalled, "Before I got to Interscope, I recorded the whole album, made the cover, and went around to every label. And I was rejected everywhere. They told me, this isn't hip-hop, you're playing live instruments. I started doubting myself. I remember standing on the balcony with Nate Dogg listening to the recording like, is this even any good or not?" Later that same year, Snoop released his debut album Doggy Style. Produced by Dr. The album sold more than 4 million copies, topped the charts, and gave birth to the hits Who Am I, What's My Name, and Gin and Juice.
With so much drama in the LBC, it's kinda hard being Snoop D-O-double-G.
Dre continued his rise. becoming the lead producer at Death Row, reconciling with Ice Cube to record Natural Born Killers, hitting #1 with Tupac on California Love, which was originally supposed to be a Dre solo track, and composing music for the films Murder Was the Case, Above the Rim, and the theme song for Friday. Keep their heads ringing.
Welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness.
But relations with Suge Knight and Tupac deteriorated. Snoop got entangled in a murder trial, and the feud with East Coast label Bad Boy Records began to overshadow the music. Dre decided to step back, especially after Suge Knight's management style started damaging the label's reputation. In 1996, after Tupac's murder, a mass exodus of artists from the label began, and Death Row Records essentially ceased to exist.
Some quick memories, some positive memories of Eazy-E as well as Tupac.
I mean, one, let me start with Tupac. He was one of the most talented people I've worked with because, you know, the little time I spent working with him, he went in the studio, and usually people sit in the control room and write their lyrics and what have you to the tracks that I present. He went in the mic booth and put the headphones on. I let the track run down one time, instrumental. When I rewinded it, he said he was ready. He had his verse done, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was incredible, man. And Pac was the type of guy that he'd go in the studio and he'll complete 5 songs in one day. That's the reason for him having all the joints that he has right now. I mean, he has like another 4 albums.
After the release of The Chronic, Dre was nominated for various awards: MTV, American Music Awards, Grammy, The Source. However, 1995 was a turning point for Dre. He even had to serve a 5-month jail sentence for violating parole. That same year, while working on his album All Eyes on Me, Tupac repeatedly accused Dr. Dre of not contributing to the record, although that didn't stop Dre from featuring on their joint track California Love, which tore through the global charts and awards. In 1995, Dre left Death Row. He cited Suge Knight's corruption and intransigence as the reason, and Knight certainly never had a reputation for good behavior. Interestingly, Dre's freedom from Suge Knight came at the cost of receiving no profits from The Chronic. Dre was forced to make concessions when he decided to move to Interscope and create his own label there. As Billboard noted, Dre bought his freedom at the cost of his stake in Death Row, as well as the rights to royalties from The Chronic. Thanks to a shady verbal agreement with Marion Knight, Dre lost at least several $1 million. When Death Row eventually collapsed and was sold for $18 million, many tried to claim rights to The Chronic, which would have allowed them to use the songs in films and video games. But eventually, Andre Young regained full rights to the record, which today is even available on streaming services. Suge Knight later insisted that Dre and Tupac hated each other. He also claimed that Dre wasn't responsible for producing Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album or Tupac's California Love. Speaking to TMZ from prison, where he is serving a 28-year sentence for the 2015 killing of Terry Carter, Knight said that in fact the most popular Death Row Records releases were the work of rapper and producer Daz Dillinger from the group Dog Pound, who is Snoop Dogg's cousin. What's cool about Daz is that I came to him and said, "We gotta finish the album." Suge Knight told TMZ from a California prison. He did everything. The whole Doggy Style album, himself. The whole album is his work. He produced it. As for his statement regarding Tupac, quote, "Pac and Dre were never in the studio together," he said. "They didn't work on California Love together. They hated each other, simple as that." This statement followed Daz Dillinger's claim that he forced Knight to pay him what he was owed for producing Dog Pound's Just Doggin' track for the Sunset Park soundtrack in 1996. Dillinger said he threatened the head of Death Row Records with one of those big long diesel screwdrivers. In 1996, the first compilation release came out on the newly established label The Aftermath, which was founded by Dr. Dre as a subsidiary of Interscope. The compilation album Dr. Dre Presents The Aftermath dropped in November 1996 and included tracks from Dre himself as well as new Aftermath entertainment artists. The release was met with a lukewarm reception, but the serious track Been There Done That showcased a more mature, introspective Dre and signaled a move away from gangster rap.
It's all about the DOE. So if money is the root, I want the whole damn tree.
Dre continued developing the label, signing producer Melman, former N.W.A member Dawn Robinson, and female rapper Eve, then known as Eve of Destruction. He also collaborated with New York rapper Nas on the track Nas Is Coming. This unexpected East-West union led to the Firm project with Foxy Brown. Dre's production, especially on the track Phone Tap, was praised. But like Dr. Dre Presents The Aftermath, the project failed to meet commercial expectations.
The golden child shot that ass up, you was holding out, let the streets be the court, and corners hold.
Against this backdrop of setbacks, Aftermath's future seemed uncertain. But in 1998, Interscope chairman Jimmy Iovine handed Dre a demo by a young rapper from Detroit named Eminem, a move that completely revived Dr. Dre's career.
I think he's the best MC ever. I mean, point blank, period. Of course, there are going to be arguments about that because he's a white guy. You know, I don't think anyone that's rapping can touch Eminem on that microphone.
After meeting, Dr. Dre and Eminem began collaborating almost right away, and Dre fully committed to Eminem's major label debut. In 1999, the Slim Shady LP was released, sparking both critical acclaim and controversy, largely thanks to the Dre-produced single My Name Is. Simpler in sound than Dre's earlier work, the minimalist beat was the perfect backdrop for Eminem's razor-sharp delivery, helping make the album one of the most explosive debuts in hip-hop history.
My name is what? Excuse me. My name is
In an interview with XXL, Dre spoke about his relationship with Eminem, quote, "I feel like even if we hadn't met, he still would have made it. Because he's incredibly talented. I just got lucky. I met him first and opened the door. As for the race thing, when I first heard him, I didn't even know he was white. I just knew I wanted to work with him. And honestly, that helped. As a creator and innovator, nothing beats discovering something that different."
I want to thank, of course, Mr. Dre, Dr. Dre. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Dre. I want to thank Dr. Dre. First, I want to thank Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, of course. Once again, thank you, sir. Once again, you got me up here. Thank you to Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre. The man who saved my life, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. motherfucking Dre.
In November 1999, Dr. Dre released his second solo album, 2001. Initially, the album was to be titled The Chronic 2000, but the name had to be changed because Death Row released a similarly titled record in May of that same year. The 2001 album ultimately became multi-platinum, earning Dre a slew of awards and nominations. One of the most iconic tracks from the album was Still Dre, a tune recognized well beyond rap circles.
Can't keep it home a lot, cause when I frequent the spots that I'm known to rock, you hear the bass from the...
This album was not only a bold return to G-Funk and a callback to The Chronic, but also a reunion with artists like Hitman, Kurupt, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, and newcomers like Eminem and Xzibit. Lavishly produced, the lead single Still DRE became a symbol of Aftermath's new era and included writing credits from Jay-Z and producer Scott Storch. Dre combined his near-supernatural talent for dark string arrangements with N.W.A. style bravado. G-Funk was back. Next came the hits Next Episode and Forgot About Dre. Dre won a Grammy for Producer of the Year and went on the Up in Smoke tour, which received rave reviews.
No bills and no skis. Mad at me cause I can finally afford to provide my family with groceries.
It's interesting that Dr. Dre's influence on his proteges, whether Eminem or Snoop Dogg, remains strong even today. The legendary hip-hop producer, entrepreneur, and one of the founders of N.W.A. survived a cerebral aneurysm in January of 2021, a potentially life-threatening condition that required immediate hospitalization. While Dre was recovering at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, Eminem and Snoop Dogg reconciled after a 20-year conflict. In an interview with his longtime manager Paul Rosenberg, Marshall Mathers shared how Dre's illness accelerated their truce. Quote, "Snoop and I had our differences, and then Dre had that brain aneurysm, and we were like, this is stupid, this is fucking stupid to be fighting right now." Reportedly, the conflict began after Snoop took part in the song Bitch Please 2 from Eminem's 2000 album The Marshall Mathers LP, which topped the Billboard 200 chart. "I think back then there was a miscommunication about his involvement on my album," Eminem says in the new interview. "I feel like he wanted to do something with me," he recalls, "but that gesture wasn't taken as reciprocated, and Snoop's team saw it as an insult." Fast forward to 2022, and all the beef was behind them. Social media exploded in August when Eminem posted a photo of himself, Snoop, and Dre in the studio with the caption, "Just a few bros hanging out." After Eminem, Dr. Dre went on to work with 50 Cent, who also instantly became a global superstar. Thanks to his connection with Eminem, Dre produced N.W.A. Club, a track that received critical praise for its minimalism, reminiscent of My Name Is, and marked a departure from heavy sampling. Riding the wave of the single's success, the album Get Rich or Die Tryin' sold over 800,000 copies in its first week.
Give me a hug, getting rough. You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub.
And here are the words of 50 Cent about Dr.
This is why you've never heard me say anything negative about him. You see what I'm saying? And also connected to like M, because M's our relationship. My Eminem is Dr. Dre is Eminem's. I am to Eminem to me is what Dr. Dre is to Eminem.
Yeah.
So to disrespect him in any way is just you out of pocket. You're not even following the chain of command that.
Although the Beats by Dre empire took over everything, Dre never fully stepped away from music. In 2009, he worked on Only Built for Cuban Links Part 2 by Raekwon and built relationships with the new West Coast wave, including the collective Black Hippie. Soon after, Dre began producing for Compton native The Game and even appeared in one of his tracks and videos. The track was released on The Game's 2005 album, The Documentary.
My chucks keep the beef cracking. I lay niggas out like crease khakis.
In 2010, the joint video Kush featuring Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Akon was released. This single is iconic because it was the first from the Detox album, which Dre has been working on for 17 years. Plans for Detox have been in motion since 2001, but each year its release has been delayed, becoming a running joke in the music press. In 2008, Snoop Dogg claimed the album was ready but postponed due to Dre's work on Eminem's Relapse and Before I Self-Destruct by 50 Cent. The release was pushed to 2010. In 2009, Dre unexpectedly previewed Detox in a Dr. Pepper commercial, and Eminem confirmed that at least a dozen tracks had been completed. In April 2010, the track Under Pressure featuring Jay-Z leaked online, but was received lukewarmly. In the end, the album never saw the light of day.
The longer way to detox trick, 'cause maybe I don't wanna stop, maybe I don't wanna quit.
Nevertheless, Dre continues to work with his proteges. In 2011, a revamped and buffed up Dr. Dre appeared in the music video for Eminem and Skylar Grey's I Need a Doctor, where Dre also delivered a verse himself.
But I still remember the shit like it was just yesterday, though. You walked in, yellow jump.
Dre's third album, titled Compton, was released on August 7th, 2015 on the iTunes Store and on August 21st in physical formats. The album serves as both a studio album and the soundtrack for the film Straight Outta Compton, which tells the story of the group N.W.A. and hit theaters on August 14th, 2015. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Over the years, Dr. Dre has elevated beloved rappers to unprecedented heights. Eminem, 50 Cent, The Game, Kendrick Lamar. These are just a few of the names that wouldn't be who they are without the help of Andre Young. Such success wouldn't be possible without Dre's meticulous approach to his craft. Dre has repeatedly proven that he's a demanding figure who expects total dedication from his artists. In 2006, Snoop Dogg gave an interview to a website where he shared that Dre once made a singer re-record a section of vocals 107 times. Young also noted that Eminem is a perfectionist too, and his success at Aftermath was thanks to that. One consequence of this doctrine of creative perfectionism is that some musicians who initially sign with Dre's label end up never releasing an album. In 2001, Aftermath released the soundtrack for the film The Wash. Rappers like Shonta, Dax, Joe Beast, and Toy participated in its recording. As of today, none of these artists have released a full album. Still, their collaboration with Aftermath hasn't been severed.
Up to me with your hands out, looking up to me like you want something free. When my last CD was out, you wasn't bumping.
Dr. Dre's achievements in business are no less significant. In 2008, Dr. Dre, together with Jimmy Iovine, chairman of the American label group Interscope Geffen A&M, founded Beats Electronics, a manufacturer of high-end audio equipment. The company produces its products under the Beats by Dre brand. In 2011, the company patented its own technology, Beats Audio, aimed at enhancing sound quality. That same year, Hewlett-Packard released a line of personal computers equipped with Beats audio systems, and Taiwanese electronics manufacturer HTC began integrating this technology into its smartphones, some of which even came with Beats by Dre headphones. In 2014, Apple acquired Beats Electronics for $3 billion, 25% of which went directly to Dre Danchanas, a former hip-hop producer and author of The Big Payback, The History of the Business of Hip-Hop, says that Dr. Dre's business acumen was shaped by the entrepreneurial spirit of the 1980s hip-hop culture. There's a long tradition of entrepreneurship among artists in hip-hop, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to get noticed, says Charnas, noting that in the 1980s, major record labels and radio stations were reluctant to invest in and promote hip-hop. Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin were forced to start their own label just so people could even hear the records, he adds, referring to Def Jam Records, one of the first and most successful hip-hop labels. That hustle mentality spread to everything. But there have also been some odd incidents in Dr. Dre's career. A few years ago, he lost a prolonged trademark dispute to a gynecologist with a similar name. The case was initiated back in 2015, when a gynecologist from Pennsylvania, Dre and Birch, tried to trademark the name Dr. Dry. Dr. Dre filed an objection, stating that the similarity of the names could cause confusion, especially given that his near namesake intended to sell audiobooks and conduct seminars under that name. However, the United States Patent and Trademark Office disagreed and rejected Dre's claim. In the ruling issued last week, it was noted that although the names are indeed similar, Dr. Dre failed to prove that consumers would be misled and might purchase Dr. Dre's products thinking they were associated with him. Well, that's all for today. What do you think about Dr. Dre? Share your opinion in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.